Good morning, everybody. Mr. Balker here. I know that this video is going to be a little bit different because I'm here in front of the computer rather than walk around in front of the room. The reason for that is I want to kind of show you a couple of the resources that are within Amplify and make sure that you know how to get to them and how to use them. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and show you sort of where exactly to get everything that you need to get. Okay, so here we go. When you guys log into Amplify, it should bring you right here. This is our main menu that shows all of the various units. Red Scarf Girl is something you guys have already gone through, most of it. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We're gonna move right on to Unit 7B, okay? So you're gonna wanna click into here. And then the first unit is a play called A Raisin in the Sun. That's the first thing that we're actually gonna go through and read. It's a fantastic story. I'm very familiar with it. I've read it ages ago, and it's one that has really stuck with me because it talks about an important time in American culture. So you want to click on Raisin in the Sun, and then here's all of your lessons, okay? Most of the time, these flex days I don't do because I don't have time for that. We've got too many things we need to do. So you're going to want to start with lesson 1. All of the lessons are structured pretty well the same way. These first couple lessons have a specific vocabulary activity. Not all of them will. I'm going to play the video here to show you the vocabulary word. One of the reasons that I'm doing this lesson live.
Doggedly. Doggedly. It's an adverb and it means stubbornly with determination. For example, Zeke doggedly tried to get the girl's attention. Doggedly. Doggedly. Part of speech, adverb, and it means stubbornly with determination.
And that's that. So that is your vocabulary word. And so then what you want to do is go to number 1 and choose the correct answer. And then go to number 2. And it gives you answers. And then number 3. And then number 4. That's what you need to do. That is the vocabulary for this week. Next, we're going to go to slide number 2. Slide number 2 wants you to download the texts for Raisin in the Sun and Sucker. I don't care if you download it. If you do download it, the advantage is that it will be on your Chromebook. And if you don't have a wireless, you'll still be able to read it. That's up to you. Here's how you get to the library. You're going to click on the little stack. That's what I refer to this over here. And you're going to go to the library. And then you can search for a myriad of different books here. And if you're somebody who really likes to read, go for it. There's all kinds of stuff in here. If you're somebody who doesn't like to read, at the very least, I would recommend you find the books that we're going to use. So Raisin in the Sun, Red Scarf Girl, those are the two that we've worked on immediately. They also want you to find Sucker. That's the next thing that we read, okay? So that's how you get to the library. Go back to this, and they want you to find those 2 texts. Next thing, let's talk about A Raisin in the Sun. A Raisin in the Sun is a fantastic story, and I want to kind of go over the cultural context first of all. Raisin in the Sun is set in the 1950s in Chicago. What's going on in America in the 1950s? Civil rights movement, right? Martin Luther King, all of that stuff that's going on. These folks are trying to make sure that they get equal rights, integrated schools, and so forth. The fact is, in American history, this is sort of a tough time for Black people, especially, okay? Black people were not viewed with the same regard. They didn't have the same rights. They didn't have the same opportunities. And so a lot of this story is talking about that. The picture here shows you people protesting. It shows you, what would be typical work for the average Black person, polishing a rich white person's car. It's crap, it sucks, but that is what it was. And then this is fairly common house, place that folks might live. As you can see, it is not an exceptionally good condition. Those of you that do not know Chicago's climate, it can be quite cold. And this house would be quite cold. So that's one picture they wanted us to show you. This is the lady who wrote the story. Her name is Lorraine Hansberry. She is the first Black woman to get a major Broadway production published, and it is called A Raisin in the Sun. And so she's very excited about it, writes a letter to her mother. I'll read it. Dear Mother, here we are. I'm sitting alone in a nice hotel room in New Haven, Connecticut. Downstairs, next door in the Shubin Theater, technicians are putting the finishing touches on a living room that's supposed to be a Chicago living room. Wednesday, the curtain goes up at 8 p.m. The next day, New Haven papers will say that they think what they think about our efforts. A great deal of money has been spent, and a lot of people have done some hard work. And it may be the beginning of many different careers. The actors are very good, and the director is a very talented man. So if it is a poor show, I won't be able to blame a soul but your youngest daughter. She's referring to herself, saying, look, here we go. We're about to release this thing. It's going to go live. And if it sucks, everybody else is fantastic. It's going to come down to me. Very, very self-effacing and very honest. This was the results afterwards. Theater goers came out in droves. The first ever play by Black playwright, make it to Broadway. Audiences and critics alike found plenty to admire and discuss the sad, funny, triumphant story of the younger family and their dream of a better life. Sidon plays rich language, sharp insight, and caustic humor. The New York Drama Critics Circle named Hansberry's first work Best Play of 1959. And they're already talking about making it into a motion picture on the, quote, silver screen. So it was a huge success. It really was. And it talked about something that was important that was going on in American culture. And that is the want of rise in availability of economic situation, education, everything else of Black people in America. And obviously this is still something that's going on now. We'll talk about that more as we go along. I'm going to go into the reading itself. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever read a play before. I don't know when I was in 7th grade if I had read a play before, but there's a few things that you've got to understand about it. Stage directions are in the writing. So when you read a play, it's going to have a person's name. This is the person who's talking. Then it's going to say what their line is. Then anytime you've got italicized stuff in parentheses, this is stage directions. This is people doing stuff. Then it's going to go right back into the text. It's going to take a little bit of practice to get used to reading it, but I certainly recommend you do it. Those of you that have not used Amplify before, when it thinks there's a word that you might struggle with, it'll put it in blue and you can click on it. And that will allow you to have an inline lookup, and it's going to tell you what the word means. If you didn't know what the word stupor meant, you could look it up right there, and it says confused state. That's it. So what I want you to do is to go through and read the whole play. I don't need you to go through and do the group stuff because unfortunately, we're not in a group. You're at home. So unless you have one heck of a big and talented family, that's not going to be possible. So go ahead and finish slide 3, read it, get familiar with it. And then we're going to go ahead and sort of go along. On slide 4, they want you to read the opening scene. This is the setup for it, okay? I want you to notice the way that this room is described. It is not a happy, uplifting place. So reread the introduction, highlight what you find out about the setting. They'll still work, that you didn't know before, and answer the question below. What tells us that the younger's home feels crowded? What tells us that it feels tired? And what tells us that at some point it showed hope and pride? These are pretty easy questions, and you will find the answers in this text. Read through this, get a good foundational understanding of their house. That is the major thing that gets done. In addition, so once you finish that and you've answered those questions, what I want you to do is go to number 7, which is the solo. Solo activities are things that are meant to be done by and large assigned as homework. This is the next part of the play, okay? I want you to read it, and then it has multiple choice questions that go along with it, okay? After you finish the first part, this is the very next thing that happens, so it'll make sense to you. It follows logically. Right here, they have some questions they need you to answer. What does Walter mean when he says, damn my eggs? What does he mean by that? Explain. How does he feel? Okay. All you have to do then, go through this multiple choice question, this multiple choice question, this multiple choice question, this multiple choice question, and this, and this, and this, and this. That's it. After you've read the entire thing, you'll have a very good foundational understanding of who these characters are. That is an entire lesson, guys. That's how it goes. There's a fair bit of reading, a little bit of writing. And when you're done, you hit hand in on all of your stuff and I will grade it. So I wish you the best of luck. I hope that this lesson makes sense to you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys for the next one.